Hey guys, welcome back to the Baby Sleep Magic podcast. My name is Chantel Murphy, and in today's episode, I'm actually going to be playing you an audio from a recent video that we did in regards to when do toddlers drop a nap. In here, I've got some tips and hints in there, what to look for, what to do in the event that they drop a nap, but they still need some downtime, and how to manage that. So if you wanted to watch the video, you can certainly do that through the Baby Sleep Magic app. In the feed section, the feed section is free for everyone. It's got relevant posts and videos, all relevant to parenting and sleeping and baby in general. Otherwise, enjoy the podcast. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next week. Hey everyone, this week's video is going to be about when do toddlers typically drop a nap. Now, it's a bit of a grey area really, because it can happen, every toddler's different, and it can happen as early as, unfortunately, 2.5 to as late as school age. So as an example, my boys, Noah was happy to continue having a day nap till he started school. So he was like 4.5, 5, where Cruz come 2.5, 3, it was an absolute battle. So it definitely ranges, but children definitely still need to continue napping till at least 2.5. So I'll put that out there. But after the age of 2.5, things can become challenging. However, my biggest tip would be to ensure that you still offer rest time. So even though they might really be protesting the fact that they don't want to go to sleep, that's okay, I suppose, in one respect. But what we do need to insist is they still have some downtime, because even children up to the age of sometimes 4, they just can't cope a whole day without any downtime. So it's really important to have a little bit of rest time around that. So, a couple of ideas that you could work with. If you've got a toddler that's really challenging you come nap time during the day, a few things you could try is, one option is you could try and have a bit of a running race with them to get to the bedroom. And this is what I used to do with my boys, especially when they used to challenge me. They didn't want to go for a nap, and they were really cranky, and they were protesting, and they were trying every trick in the book. Got to make it fun to begin with to get them into the bedroom. So what I used to do, I used to have a race. So we'd start at one end of the house and race into the bedroom, and then brownie points to me, I'd get them in their room. And that was a positive starting point to get them in the room. Other options is like having a bit of a jumping competition of who, and this is between you, the parent, and them, because it's exciting and it's fun and it's something they don't really do. And that starts the nap off on a positive way, or rest time. When they're in their bedroom, then you can either, if they go in there happily in their bed or their cot and that works, then great. But what you could then try, if it doesn't, you could give them some puzzles or some books or some cards to play with. But it's all got to be quiet rest time. I wouldn't expect a child to just lay in their bed and look at the ceiling for an hour. That's just, at that age, it's just not going to happen. So you kind of got to make it a little bit interesting for them, but also implement those rules and boundaries that it is rest time. It is not playtime. It is not non-negotiable. They can't just not have a nap or not have rest time. It's still got to implement some rest time. So yeah, like I said, implement something for them to be either in their cot or in their bed for them to just play with. And even if children are a little bit older, so around the 2.5, 3.5 year mark and older, you could probably introduce a bit of a clock, like a timer. And when that timer goes off, then their nap or rest time is over. That allows them to come out. But they need to ensure that, while that clock is on, or until that clock turns a certain time, or whatever you're going to implement there, it is rest time. And what might happen over a period of time, and this is the hope, that they get bored with whatever they've got in their bed. And this is the other thing, you've got to kind of keep an eye on them. They can't just get out of bed and start walking around the house and being all quiet. It's purely rest time. So they've got to stay on their bed. These are the rules. Have their blinds still closed. Maybe have their door open a little bit. That's a little bit of a privilege, especially for the older children. They're going to understand that that's a privilege. So, and then a consequence could be if they don't behave well or they don't do as they're told, that door gets closed. So, but to begin with, you could certainly open the door, and that could be a privilege for them. And then, like I said, the hope is they get a bit bored with whatever they're playing with, and they end up drifting off and going to having a bit of a nap. So that is my, I suppose, tip around toddlers, nap time, encouraging downtime, because it's still, especially mums out there with other children who are younger, you need that time. And I totally get that. And if they're not going to have a nap as such, you still need some time away. And so do they. They just need some downtime. Otherwise, you'll get to 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They will be ratty, they'll be cranky, they'll be miserable, they'll be clingy, they'll be needy, and that's even harder. So you just want to encourage some downtime at that point. And at the end of the day, if that is just not working because they've gotten beyond that point or they're too old now, then what you could do more in the afternoon when they are that really cranky, irritable, ratty mood is put them on the lounge like this and put a program on like Peppa Pig or Bluey or something like that. But this is not an opportunity for them to doze off. You don't want your toddler at 3 or 4 years old having a nap at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Otherwise, your bedtime will be a nightmare and they'll be wanting to go to bed at 9 o'clock at night. So that is the most important thing. It's probably, I'd encourage 20, 30, 40 minutes on the lounge, get their pillow, get their little lovey, and even dim the lights a bit, pull the blinds down, but it's not an opportunity to doze off. It's just a little bit of a refresh and a bit of a reboot, and give them a bit of a program to watch so they're just chilling, and hopefully that gets you over the line. They're still going to go to bed at their normal time, but they're going to have a little bit more energy to then not be so grumpy, eat dinner, enjoy a bath, and still go to bed at the normal time. So I hope that helps. I hope it gives you a bit of an overview of how to manage toddler times and nap time. And I'll see you in next week's video.